Phoebe Bridgers is an American singer-songwriter from Pasadena, which is in California, which last time I checked is in the United States. Her career started around 2007. She was a member of the band Sloppy Jane. She's also been a member of Boy Genius and the Better Oblivion Community Centre. She released her first solo album in 2017 and her second in 2020. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of Stranger in the Alps, which is an album by Phoebe Bridgers, which was released in 2017. It was her first solo album. It's my first encounter with her that I know of. And I would describe this as being singer-songwriter in an indie folk kind of way. So in some ways, it reminds me of, I try not to do too many comparisons, but I don't mind for really well-known acts. It reminds me of some of the slower Sheryl Crow songs, although I wouldn't in any way claim that this is country. It also reminds me of other modern singer-songwriters, and the name that always springs to mind when I think of this is Bill Callahan. There's a whole suite of American modern singer-songwriters who I have grown to realise there's a rich vein of stuff here to dig into. So that's a good thing that's come out of me doing these reviews is that I've discovered stuff that I didn't know. Indie folk slash rock, some mellowness. There's a general tendency towards the mellow and acoustic guitars and things like that. Some of it's more rocky, but mostly it's on the mellow and melancholy side, I would say. And I always think that doing stuff slow and gentle well is not as easy as doing stuff fast and beaty or doing stuff that's mid-paced and anthemic, because it doesn't naturally hook people in as much. So it just has to be done well. You have to have real skill to make slow what could be boring uh, come across as not being and being engaging. And this is well done. Is musically quite diverse. There's a lot of different sounds and instruments in here. The playing's strong, and I feel like the production is particularly important. I mean, it is always important, but on this album, there's a lot of kind of thought. It feels like being putting into, we're just going to bring in a little bit of this here, or we're just going to, back that up with a little bit of something else in the background, and it's just thoughtfully produced, which makes it kind of quite evocative at times. She's got a nice voice. It's quite high and sweet sounding. She sounds quite young, and I did a calculation. She's 23 at this point, but she does sound a bit more like 17. I'm not sure. Maybe there's not a huge difference. It's interesting because there's a kind of the tone of her voice and the way she presents stuff has a kind of innocence that is reminiscent to me of Irish folk, people like Maeve Brennan and Enya and others. It just has this kind of, yeah, I used the word innocence before, and yes. Um, but there's a clear American accent here, which is usually most spottable for singers seems particularly female singers as well, in the way they pronounce their R's. Because in Britain we're not very good at pronouncing R's that in the end of phonemes. Um, um, for example, the word farce, I don't really pronounce the R in there, whereas an American would go farce, and you get that R. And this is not true in Scotland, where they do pronounce their R's. Anyway, back to this. That kind of. Now I'll come back to this kind of sweet and slightly innocent nature of the voice in a second, because it's the songwriting is where the album. So musically, it really engaged me, but the songwriting I felt was really good. Very, very strong. It's got an effortless feel, like Paul Simon at his best. And from me, that's a huge bit of praise, because I rate Paul Simon as one of the best songwriters ever. It's got an economy of words, and it brings out strong images and stories very well invoked. And there's a focus on sadness and wistfulness and melancholy and even depression. Some of these are quite powerful songs, and I think that they're made more so by the nature of her voice. So it causes a juxtaposition with this kind of sweet and innocent in the voice, but then darkness in the lyrics. So my overall feeling is that if you listen really, really carefully to some of these songs, they could make you cry. There's some really powerful stuff in here. So as a consequence, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very strong stuff, well written, well produced, well played, and just a great album. Hence, a great score. But that's my opinion. And I'd love to know what your opinion is. So will you let me know that, please, by leaving me a comment in the comments somewhere down below there. But that's it from me for now.
I'm singing at a funeral tomorrow for a kid a year older than me. And I've been talking to his dad. It makes me so sad when I think too much about it.